Hello, everybody. Welcome to another thrilling episode of actually doing art on camera. As you've already figured out, this one is not live because the one previous attempt to do a live art demonstration didn't go very well. I mean, you can't even see the full video. There was a full hour that I was live for. I'm pretty sure. I don't actually know at what point the stream just spontaneously ended. Only 30 minutes of it is up, and it's kind of just not very good. So we're not going to do that again. We're going to do the pre-recorded format because I think that's a lot easier to deal with. If you haven't seen it, this is what I did on the live episode. This is a plan for a painting I will be starting pretty soon. I need to do more planning wise because this was like kind of hindered by me trying to figure out why the stream wasn't working, and then I don't know. I still think it looks pretty good, but it can look a lot cooler, and I will make it a lot cooler. So this is a continuation of our beautiful Oderus drawing from, did I do that last week? Maybe. I don't know. This feels like a really long month. A lot of things have been going on in September. But, so I've done a little bit of extra planning, made some extra notes after that episode, because I wasn't totally happy with either the expression or like the position of his head or position of anything. So did little notes to change the focus. I think that, yeah, that's what all my notes were. So I am going to do this. Hopefully I can make this into one long episode of multiple painting parts where I will be demonstrating a full painting, and hopefully this works out. There's my paintbrushes. All right, we're a little less squishy than in the previous drawing episode. Let me show you where I am. I'm on an actual chair, so there's an improvement. I got my easel out, Oderus, and then I got all my paints set up on my bed, because that's what you do when you don't have a good inside desk setup. I have a drawing table. I mean, I have a desk, but it's at an incline, so that doesn't, I can't really paint on it unless it's watercolor, because when I watercolor, I can actually just prop things up on my stand there, and I can put my water on that. So watercolor's okay on the desk. I don't know. For some reason, I don't like to paint anything else on there for whatever reason. Let's see. And make sure our canvas is nice and viewable. So what I'm gonna do to start out, I'm gonna blob some of this, what is this, raw sienna? That seems like a good color to do a little underpainting on. What brush would be good to start out with? Let's see. I should have grabbed my other brushes, my newer brushes, but that's okay. I'm gonna pick this guy. What is that, like a 5 round? Sometimes I can't tell because a lot of my brushes, they've gotten so old that there's a cat hair stuck on here. Story of my life. Alright, and hopefully this will be a better setup for everybody to see what I'm working on, because I kind of got in front of the canvas a few times. I'm actually gonna do like this little, let's even dilute that more. So I'm gonna do like my little quadrant thing, because I did a little quadrant there. That's just an easy way for me to figure out, like, okay, how am I proportioning out this painting? Because I don't really like the grid method. I think grids are just completely irritating and annoying to use. That's something I did in, I think it was one of my high school art classes, and I think the teacher even said, as she had us do this weird grid assignment, She even said, like, a lot of professional artists say that grids are terrible, but we're doing it anyway. I think that was the same teacher that admitted she couldn't draw, which, I mean, there's art forms other than drawing, definitely. You can be a sculptor and not necessarily... I need to scoop myself. Actually, here, let me put my plans right there, and hopefully they won't fall off, and then... Ah, there we go. I can recline on my shelf over here, and you guys can still see what's going on. Because the angle was not really good for doing our underpainting here. Getting that angle right. But I like doing the little quadrant method because it's like I know what's at the midpoint of the painting. Oh my goodness, that is a beautiful, beautiful smile from our boy Oderus. I wanted to go with a happy Oderus because I have a lot of these like befuddled Oderus drawings or whatever face he's making here, kind of Oderus. As I said in the previous episode, I very often have like the Oderus that just smelled a fart. I think we gotta have a nice happy interpretation of our boy. And I like to use these kind of brown, yellowish colors for my underpaintings. It just seems to be a good base color. I kind of want to do the like face cross here. And I think I was talking about this in my attempt to go live. I found a video where Simon Bisley is demonstrating his painting technique, and I might apply a little bit of that to this painting. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the live video that I was pretty sure he was starting with solid black. And he kind of, since the video didn't have any sound, I wasn't sure what tools he was using, but it sounded like, by the looks of things, he had like a marker he was starting with. And then he came back in with some black paint, and he was doing like definite outlines, and then he kind of blurred them out. Actually with spray paint. He took some spray paint and blurred everything. So it was like a smoother grayscale kind of piece, and then he started going in with white and gray, and he was focusing on like a very grayscale look, which he was painting the Joker, so it makes sense that was grayscale. He was doing the face, Joker's white face. But I think you can apply the same logic to anything else. It's just how you do it. I thought that was really interesting because I've been told, like, don't ever use solid black. It just kind of creates this void. It just creates a hole. Let's see if I can smear that out. I'm kind of losing the definition of Oderus, but I just need to know kind of vaguely where everything is. We're just doing a little underpainting. Which, going back to high school art class, that's something they never taught us. That particular art teacher, she didn't explain, like, just going in and doing a sketch, if you will, of what you're going to paint. Just get a light wash of paint over your whole canvas instead of going in right away with really thick paint. Because in that way you don't have to worry about going in and covering up all the little white spots on your canvas. Pretty much anytime I do a face drawing, I do that little quadrant type thing too, but it's more of like I'm just gridding out the face, figuring out like, okay, where's this dude's eyes? Let's see. His big old spikes on his armor. Let's just add a little more down here. That beard is going to go pretty far. I might actually do the solid black sort of thing on this in a future part, which, as I said, I will try to join all of my parts together into one big, wonderful art video. There we go. Kind of not loving how that looks. Let's just... well, it's the underpainting. It doesn't matter. We'll figure out where we're going from there. You can already kind of see we got some Oderus happening. It's just a very strange interpretation of him so far. Okay, so we know where our boy Oderus is in this vast sea of white in our canvas. Not really vast. I always work really small. I'm not good at working large. I mean, I got a David Lee Roth painting over there that took until the actual apocalypse to finish. So, yeah, that took a long time. And then my Dune painting. Let me swing us around and show you the Dune painting. That took a long time. That was... Should let me hover on that a little bit longer so you can enjoy the majesty, and also can see my Elvis painting. The Elvis painting actually didn't take that long, if I recall correctly, because I think, oh man, did I paint that specifically for the student art show, or I might have come up with the whole canonization of Elvis concept before the art show date was announced, but I think I did do that for the art show, basically. It is painted over something that I did in, I think it was painting 2 in which I did that. Let's see, where's my background paint? So we're gonna slap some stuff into the background, and we've got this like very beautiful oceany color scheme going on here. I don't know if that's quite where I want to go. Let's see. I have a lot of... What blue do I want? Well, that purple. Actually, maybe I want purple. Maybe I want to go against my plan and go with purple. I am a fan of purple. Yes, I am going to do that. I am going to do purple. There was a point where a lot of my paintings had purple in my backgrounds. And I feel like now I'm more of a blue painter. It's like this was going to be blue. Elvis has blue. Is there anything else blue? That Frank Zappa painting, I did his hair blue because I wanted to do something kind of funky with our boy Frank, because he was a funky man. I think he would like to be painted in a little more offbeat way. And then David Lee Roth, that's a blue background. I did a lot of blue things. So let's have some purple. That's a good color. Of course, now I'm just going back to the other color I used for everything. Alright, and it doesn't have to be super good, because we're just slapping a nice little background in there. I know people that do acrylic pouring for their backgrounds, and there's some very, very awesome stuff that can happen if you experiment with that. And I don't really know how you go about doing acrylic pouring. I've seen some cool works done that way. I tend to prefer when that's like the background and then you put something cool into the painting with it. I might want to use a different brush. Let's see. What do we have? Something a little softer. Maybe this guy. That one's a little crummy. I have some brushes that are used specifically for, like, if I'm varnishing something, or I don't know, I'm using a liquid gold leaf or something that's just going to ruin the brush. So I have a few brushes that just are designated sucky brushes. I thought I had one that was smaller. This guy is what I'm picking. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. Right? There we go. I want to color. Oh, I want to make sure I've covered all of the white space, so I don't want to be dealing with that later on. There we go. I might make it a really dark background. That's what I'm thinking. I have a very vibrant background here. And I was thinking, because Oderus is pretty dark, it's going to be a lot of grays, a lot of weird fleshy tones, metal colors. But I might make the purple pretty dark. I'll see how things are coming together. All right. Okay, is that looking... Let's see, where do I want to go from here? I might start doing that black sketchiness, for lack of a better word. Might start doing that on Oderus. Let's see, what is a good brush to use? Gonna pick this guy, which is so old I can't actually see what the size is. It's just completely worn off. Just as an interesting tidbit of information, it's kind of... Oh yeah, you can't see it all. Maybe you can see it over... Actually, you can kind of see better over here. So, because I was bringing all my brushes to painting classes, both in college and some classes at my town's art center, I was keeping track of which brushes were mine, and by putting flame pattern duct tape on them, because I think I did lose a couple of brushes in a painting class once, and I wasn't quite sure if I did or not, because my teacher did say something about, like, we had some brushes got left behind one class, and was like, oh, I wouldn't be dumb enough to leave a brush in class, and then it occurred to me I was short a couple of brushes, so that answered that question. Huh? So that's just how I keep track. Of course, I don't usually take them anywhere other than staying in my room, or sometimes I'll go out and paint. It's been a long time since I've just done a go out in the world and painted some stuff kind of thing. I used to do that a lot when I was at Cuesta taking painting classes, because that same painting teacher, he had this weird ability to always know what the weather was. I don't think he actually looked it up. I think he was just like, you know what? I have a feeling that tomorrow will be sunny and it will be 75. He just somehow knew, and he'd tell us, good weather tomorrow, sunny, it's gonna be around 75. It's like, okay, maybe I should go out on that day and do some painting. And so for many a Friday, I would go out to the waterfront, and I was working on an acrylic painting of the smokestacks in my town, which I have since repainted that canvas, and I'm not even sure I know which canvas it is anymore, or if I don't know. I might have just gessoed over it and I haven't painted on it yet. It might be in my pile, but I have photos of it. It's not super great. There's like one particular spot of clouds I like, and then everything else is kind of like, it's learning to paint kind of quality, but that's okay. You gotta learn somehow. Alright, so let's see, so I'm pretty sure the Biz was coming in with a marker at some point. His lines were very precise. You know what? I just thought of something. So, maybe that. I am going to get another brush specifically for the purposes of blending, and I'm not going to get that one very wet. I might use this, this guy right here. Oh, that poor brush. It's seen better days. That's like an 8 round thing. This guy, I'm going to set this one aside because I think I have an idea. So, okay. Maybe I didn't want to dilute that black too much. That's okay. We're going to see exactly how this is going to work out. If it is a little wet though, it's going to have better flow. It's going to go on the canvas a lot better. It's not really canvas as much as it's just a little board, a little cheapo board. As I mentioned when I was doing this drawing, I got that out of a recycling bin, so that is like the best deal ever right there. Not even Joann's canvas sales can beat that. Joann's has very good canvas sales. I am guilty of buying way more canvases than I can reasonably do anything with. Okay, so now, this is something that I don't really do. So this is an entirely just experimental thing. I don't usually just go in and do any kind of outlining at this point. Let's see. Like I said, it's something I was told, like, hey, don't do this. And I'm like, okay, I won't. And then I saw Bisley do it, and it's like, well, he did it. I mean, of course, he's awesome, and he knows what he's doing, but gotta learn from our idols. Figure out how they do stuff. And Frank Frazetta always did say his whole art method, his whole thing about painting, he said he did it his way. Didn't care what anybody else was doing. It's like, I'm Frank Frazetta, damn it, and I'm doing it how I want to. That spike is just still kind of coming up like this weird column. And I'm not digging it. We can still fix that. We are in the beginning stages. And coming in with black, I'm definitely creating this sense of permanence, but a good benefit of doing your underpainting and kind of sketching out what you want to do is that you have a good idea where the painting is going. If you're doing a portrait, it's like, okay, is this person's nose in the right place? Does this mouth look like what a mouth is supposed to do? You have a good idea of like anything that needs to be fixed before it gets a little too permanent. There we go. Look at that whimsical smile. I have a paint pen. Is that going to be a good idea to experiment? Is that just going to be a complete and utter disaster? Let's see. What can I... What's the tip on this thing look like? Okay, there's cat hair on this. Everything in my house is just, it's cat hair everywhere. Alright. Shake it up a little. I think Biz was using a paint pen at some point. Okay, let's see. This seems like something you'd want to do a little more so at the end of the process. There was something that he was doing in that video where I couldn't figure out. It almost looked like he was just taking a regular pencil. I wish that video had sound that I'd know, like, I'm using this thing and all this stuff. Which actually, Bisley just started, he announced that he was going to do, like, masterclass videos on Instagram, like, free tutorials on how to do neat stuff. And he just recently posted a video, so I'm going to have to watch that. And he was talking about studying anatomy. How drawing good anatomy is a lot about understanding what's going on beneath the surface, like understanding the skeleton. And so that first video he posted, he was drawing a horse skull, which that is a excellent sort of practice thing to do, working on just drawing skulls. We did that a lot in my drawing classes. And I have a good collection of animal bones, so I can always go tap into those when I want to just do some drawing practices, some still life stuff. As well, I do really want to know how he does all the, like, really cool stuff. Like how he makes his background so rad. It's good to see how all these very awesome artists just approach the basics like that. And he also liked my post that I made a comment when he was talking about the masterclass. I said something like, "You're my favorite artist, and I like how you do shit, and I want to learn." And it was probably, I think I worded it more intelligently than that, but he liked my comment, so I felt very cool. It's like, I've been witnessed. He witnessed me. What a lovely day. All right. I'm liking the combination of the of the solid black, and the fact that I did a little bit of, did my underpainting in that brown. I think that was a good combination of things to do. Let's get a little more of that black. Let's see. I'm already on 30 minutes. I'll have to be careful and watch my time, make sure that my parts don't end up too long, but probably once I do all this business with the black, then I'm going to let everything dry, and then we'll be jumping onto part 2. Still kind of like the position of the head a lot better in my sketch. There's just a little more energy, and I find that that just happens to be the case in a lot of things. The sketch just ends up a little more lively. There it is. Okay. Stretch to find my paintbrush. There we go. Oh, this is gonna turn out so cool. Okay, let's, where's my smaller, there's the smaller brush. I'm gonna see if I can, like that paint is gonna want to blend, that paint pen. I think that's working. There we go. Interesting to experiment with spray paint, but in the video I was watching, I mean, Bisley was working on a huge sheet of paper that I don't have even half the patience to try to work on. I don't work big, as I have said. So that's a little better for spray painting. We're working on a smaller scale here. Let's see, can I just dilute that with water and have that cooperate? Actually, is that paint pen diluting at all? Maybe that's not. I don't know. Well, we'll figure it out. It'll look good. I have my water bucket like dangerously close to my book pile over here, so a little scary. I'm kind of like resting my foot on my books. That's not a very good position. It's a little hard to find a setup that works for these painting videos. Outside was a good setup, but it's a little ugly today, so I didn't set up out there. No. Special guest appearance from my mom. Let's dilute that a little bit more. Like I said in the live stream, I probably won't do very many of the painting on camera videos because I feel like a lot of my process is just me kind of sitting there like, what do I what do I do now? I'm not sure how to go about this. Or it's just gonna be me with my face in my hands for 30 straight minutes. That was just the entire David Lee Roth painting. That if I was to film myself doing that, that'd be a 5-hour live stream of me looking dead inside. That was such a pain. And I'm honestly not like totally happy with how it turned out. And I think maybe it's because I know that the whole process was just pure unadulterated agony. Let me bring the camera a little closer so you can see much better what's going on. I like how this is turning out. I think this is going to be cool. Sometimes the hard thing is when you sit and let the paint dry and then you try to go in and you find that you really could have just done everything. It would have been better to do everything in one big session, just to keep your paint wet and make sure everything can blend properly. But it'll be okay. Maybe the next part I'll come in and do like the white highlights. Maybe that's what I'm going to do next. I think I still need some more black. There we go. This position is slightly terrible on my back. My back is sore today because I ran a very long distance yesterday and it was very, very hilly. I haven't done such dramatic hills in a while. I guess I shouldn't say it was that hilly, but I mean, I ran up a trail that is designated as a hill, so I'm saying that counts. It wasn't a very big hill. It's a very, very easy hiking trail, but trying to get there was an adventure. Just this steep road cutting through the golf course to get to the hill was harder than the actual hill. That was a hill of painful proportions. Of course, even that wasn't even as bad as the hill that you gotta run up on one of the half marathons that I've done. There's a dreadful part of that run. It's like, I think the hill, it's a pretty dramatic incline. Like, very, very dramatic at first, and then it just keeps going for about a mile. So I think the paved road getting up to the hill that I hiked yesterday, I think that might have been a mile. It was a mile-long climb. I was out of breath by the time I got to the actual hiking trail. That's a little embarrassing. You're on this trail that people bring their little kids and you're just slogging around gasping for breath. Of course, they didn't run 4 miles to get to the trail, and that's what I did. I want to do a little more. That beard area. We're in the beard department. This little chin vagina thing. Maybe, where did I put my paint pen? Let's see if I can get a little bit more definition on the teeth. Also, I need to paint the sides of my canvas. What did I do with this teeth? I Okay, there we go. A little bit of tooth definition. There's my lid. Okay. I think at least twice a day, I will say, where the hell is my pen to myself. That is just what my whole life is trying to figure out where my pens are. Just work on the little molars. A little snoot. There we go. How are we on time? 40 minutes. That's a lot of... Well, maybe not quite that much. Is that really a lot? I feel like the sketch was only 30 or so minutes. I'm liking the direction this painting is going a lot more than the sketch. Let me bring our... I think you could probably see it from the other side, but I don't know. I like this face a lot more. I like the expression more, the perspective. I like where we're going here. This is gonna be some quality guart, fine guar art. Let's try to get those edges. Sometimes with the edges of my paintings, it depends on if it's like a canvas that's got a pretty thick edge or not. Actually, I can show you guys. What I like to do is I usually paint the sides either a solid color, like I did here, or Boyd D. Snyder. I just did a solid black border. And then sometimes I'll do like a wraparound thing, like my Dune painting. Actually, that painting I have up on the wall over there. Alright, so I think for what we're just doing today, I think that looks pretty good. I should paint the canvas edges. I might do that off camera though. So here's where we are so far. I'm glad I made that spontaneous decision to just go in with black. That's gonna be cool. And we're gonna see how that looks in the next part. And we're back. So let's see if I can remember exactly where I was when I left off. You can see I was working on another painting of my... I hope that looks like my friend. It kind of doesn't right now. I'm just going to prop him right up there as we jump back into our boy Oderus. For you guys, that was about a 2-second break. For me, I took like a day off, worked on some other stuff, so let's see how well this works out. Sometimes if I just leave a project and jump back in, that's where everything starts to fall apart. But we're not going to let that happen. I don't think I want to use that brush. Let's see, do I want to use that brush? I don't think I want to use either of those. Well, I can use that one. We are going to use this bad boy right here. Alright, and I still have some of this burnt umber available from working on that painting of my friend earlier. Should I water that down a tiny bit more? I'm going to water that down a tiny bit more. So last episode we added all of that black in. I'm going to add a little brown. So it's not quite so solid black. It's going to add a little more richness to our dark colors. Actually, I might just kind of slap some of that brown everywhere. That's looking good already. I wish I could position the... Actually, let me see. Can I just put the... Can I position my camera up here and have that be a little better? Maybe? Actually, that might be a little better. I can't zoom in, but might be slightly better. I think you're getting a little more of a good view of my whole art studio here, as opposed to the painting. I think I want a little more of that. A little more of that brown, and I'm gonna switch to a smaller brush for doing that. My tube of paint kind of cracked around the little squeezy nozzle here, so when I try to squeeze it out, it comes out of both the actual end and the little side. That seems to happen to a lot of my brown paint in particular seems to meet that fate. Let's add some brown in that beard of his. That'll make it more interesting. So it's not quite so solid black. So my goal for this particular session, I'm hoping I can get his skin at least started looking good. I want to add a little more to that background. I should work a lot on the background pretty soon. And then I'd like to get the metal worked on as well. Hoping to get as many projects as possible done before tomorrow. At the risk of dating this episode, tomorrow is October 1st, and so that means Inktober is here, and I am kind of not ready because I have so much other stuff going on. I kind of waited until the end of the month to get everything finished, which I'll be talking all about my projects, what's been going on in my vlog. I'm going to do my vlog a little bit after the first of the month. Because sometimes when I come up with my list of things to do, it's not really like, I need to do this before the first of next month. It's, I need to do this before the next vlog when I report all the things I've done. So sometimes I like to just scoot my vlog back a little bit and give myself a little more time. This has been a productive month overall. There we go. So I think next thing I want to do, there's my black paint. I'm going to work a little bit on this metal, his shoulder spikes. Actually, I still have some white paint on there. Is that still good or is that dried up? Get some of our Mars black. And let's see if that paint... Oh, there we go. Okay. Got some of my white, some of my Mars black. make a little gray. I don't know if you can see what colors are being mixed on this nightmare of a palette. Alright, so where is our light source? There is the question we all must ask. Very rarely do I have a good answer for that. That's something I need to work on in my comics, particularly. Sometimes I think the light source is just specific to certain characters. It's only affecting some of them. And that's kind of not how things work. So that would be a good skill to practice. Maybe I'm gonna go back to our flat brush right here. Let's see. I feel like that's looking a little too light. I want to make that darker first before I bring too many light highlights in. And I kind of want that part the spike connects to the shoulder armor. I want that a little darker. And while I'm doing this, let's get going on that headband thing. Old spiky headband he's got on. There we go. Now that's already starting to look like some metal. Love to tell you that I had guar going during my painting session, but that was not the case. I was actually listening to Jethro Tull, so very different energy. But I love Jethro Tull. I think that's some good music to have on for painting. I think sometimes you need very, very calming music, because painting can get, sometimes it gets stressful. If you're working on an art project and things are just really not working, I feel like you don't want to have music that's going to raise your blood pressure. That's just going to stress you out more. There we go, that's starting to look pretty good. One of the reasons I want to work on the background is I want to kind of get rid of that fuzziness. Actually, let me bring the camera a little closer and then I can show you what I mean. You can kind of see a little bit of fuzzies around everything. Which if I just go in with my purple I can clean that up. I'm gonna finish off what I was doing here first. It'd be kind of neat to go in with like an X-Acto knife and just scrape at that paint so it's like scratches on the armor. That'd be cool. Actually, I have mine maybe within reach. I don't know if I want to do that right away though. I might wait a little bit before I experiment with that. Okay. Oh, I didn't finish the, well, I need a different brush to do that. I did not finish what I was doing with the headband. But yeah, I wanted go back to my smaller brush, my 2 pointy guy, whatever that type of brush is called. 2 round, maybe. Looking at my reference photo to see, or my reference drawing, I mean the one that I made on that previous art episode. The nice thing about Oderus, the nice thing about every member of Guar is they're pretty funky looking, so it doesn't really matter if you're perfect or not, and that's completely the opposite energy of the painting of my friend I'm trying to do here, where it's a hot guy, but it's not the particular hot guy I'm trying to paint. It's just not quite looking like him, and I feel like I have to be very perfect when painting him. So it's good to just have something where you're like, I'm just gonna paint something weird, and if anybody complains, it's like, well, that's just my vision of this particular intergalactic space deity. I think this is gonna look very good when we've finished. I think it's coming together. I was getting a little concerned with my painting skills because of how things were going earlier, but that's just how it is. There's something weird about how I painted. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that brown. And let's see if I can't just fix that. Right, I think I got it. Okay, so now, am I going to come back in with that same brush maybe? I think so. I think I'm going to use our same flat brush, and let's do some work with the background. I was using the dioxazine, whatever the hell that word is, purple. So let's get some of that out. And right now I'm just trying to cover up our little floofs, our little rough edges. I want to do something really cool and messy with the background today. Got my paint palette out. Which, you know what paint palettes are really good for? It's if you're in painting class and you brought some applesauce as a snack and you forgot your spoon. If you have a paint palette, you're good. This isn't the particular paint palette that I would occasionally eat my applesauce with. I had a different one. I had a plastic one. I think I probably inadvertently ate some paint chips in the process, but, you know, gotta improvise. I think I've accidentally eaten clay also from one of those forgot my utensil in art class days. Used to come into the open lab in my ceramics class before class actually started. And it'd be right when I'd have my lunch, so I'd be eating attempting to eat while working on whatever I was working on. There was a day where I brought like a burrito in a thermos. It was half a burrito in a thermos. It had fallen apart in transit. And I didn't have a fork to eat it with, so I'm trying to eat the innards of this burrito while also working on this pot. And I think there was some cross-contamination. I think at some point I ate some clay and I might have gotten some pinto beans in my project. Which that reminds me of something in my high school ceramics class. A guy was making, he sculpted a pear and he wanted to have a realistic bite taken out of the pear. So he did what you gotta do and he took a bite out of his clay pear. And I can't even imagine what an adventure it was getting the clay out of his mouth, but that's innovation. Of course, this is high school ceramics class. People are probably just eating clay to be eating clay. That's kind of what those classes turned into, unfortunately. I also want to get the edges of this painted. So I was talking about making sure those edges got done in the last episode, and I think I said I was going to do it off camera, and then I proceeded to not do it off camera, so let's do it right now so I don't forget. There we go. There was a guy in my portfolio class in college that painted with blacklight paint, and he did some really, really cool pieces that way. He was really into bright colors. That's something that he liked about the work that I brought into that class. He said it had a really good sense of color, and the really funny thing about that, he was actually colorblind, so I don't know what he was seeing that was so awesome, but I was always very curious, because he definitely was seeing something cool that I wasn't seeing. Actually, the two colorblind people that I have met were both people that I had art classes with, and they both painted with fairly distinctive color palettes. One of those guys, it was a guy around my age. The other guy was an older guy. This guy, younger guy, he mentioned at some point that he was so colorblind. I just dropped my paintbrush. There we go. He said he was so colorblind that red and green, I think red and green were the only colors he could see properly. I always thought that was really interesting, because you would not have guessed it at all looking at his work. I always wondered what is the science of how color blindness works. What exactly do you see when you're blind to a certain color? There's one YouTuber that I really like, Lucagen. She is, I think, colorblind to, I want to say green. She's a gaming YouTuber, and there was something she was playing where she was like navigating a certain area. She needed to find it was like a hole in a wall of green hedges that she needed to crawl through. And she was saying that she could not see, well, the hole, if you're playing this game, it's like these very dark green hedges, and the hole you're supposed to go through is like a black square, and it's not super easy to see in general, but what she was saying is all she could see was just like massive gray, just really dark gray, and she was trying to find just a significantly darker patch in all of that, so that would be very annoying. Is that looking a little better? Checking my time. There we go. I think I am actually going to add some of this white in. I think we're a little too dark in some spots. Still need to work on defining the shape of that particular horn. That's the one that I wasn't liking how I painted it in my underpainting thing. That is still like preposterously larger than the one on that side. I'm not sure why I gave him inconsistently sized horns. Of course, maybe is that one supposed to be... I was going to say maybe that was supposed to be blocked by his armor spike, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Let us go in and let's balance things out. Let's go back to our burnt umber. There we go. That's looking better. Still some kind of pale spots on the bottom of our board. Let me see. Actually, let me use that slightly bigger brush. have a different setup in terms of where my water is and where my paint is this time. Actually, I think my paint is in the same spot, but last time my water was down here and I was bending over to do everything. Now I have it sitting over here, so hopefully that is a little bit better. I already think it's better because I don't have to hunch over. Okay. Let's see, where should I go from here? I might not add too much more to the background because I don't want that to be like completely finished. I think I want to work a little bit on Oderus' face. So he's got that very raw, fleshy colored face. I think that I'm going to take some of this red, and I was going to use this portrait pink, but I don't know if you guys can hear that. That is the sound of something that is completely liquid. And when I squeezed a little bit out for that other painting, it was just an explosion of completely liquid. And I mean, that I had to wipe it off of my palette because it was getting everywhere. So I might not open that right now at all because I don't want to have to deal with that on camera. Oh, crap. Okay, do I have enough white left? I think I need to squeeze a little bit more white. But actually, do I maybe want to, instead of doing white, actually I'm going to go back to my raw sienna. I'm going to add a little bit of that. Okay. Let's see how this is going to look. I'm going to add a little bit more water. Oh yeah, that's what I want. Let's see, let's go in around the nose because I feel like that's starting to get a little bit lost. Make it a tiny bit more red. Actually, this whole area is getting a little bit lost, so add some color. I'm starting like a little bit darker than what I want my final main skin tone to be, because you kind of want to work dark and then bring that light forward. It's kind of the opposite of when you're doing watercolor, which is you start light and then gradually ruin everything because you can't watercolor. Or at least that's usually what happens with me. I think watercolor painting is the one place where I have been told my colors aren't very vibrant. And that's because they have a tendency to get really muddy. So that's something I have been working on. I think the problem with watercolors is it's not like acrylic where everything on the palette eventually dries. I can mix colors on top of something I mixed ages ago and it's fine. If you're doing that with watercolors, you're just gonna rehydrate some ungodly color you mixed 3 years ago and all of a sudden you've created something horrible. I suppose you could wash your palette, but that's a whole lot of work. Guess maybe not. Maybe it's not. Get my beverage real quick. There we go. Always remember to hydrate while you're painting. Always remember to make sure your beverage and your paint bucket are in distinctly different containers also. I know plenty of people who will have both their beverage and their paint water in like a little mug. And you don't want to do that because sometimes you end up cleaning your brush and your water and, well, cleaning your brush and your drinking water and then drinking your paint water. And that's just not a good time. Not a good time at all. See, I make sure my paint bucket is disgusting enough that the smell is going to hit me even if I were just to completely space out and attempt to drink out of that. I'll know quite quickly that something's terribly, terribly wrong. This is starting to look odorous-y now. Let me bring the camera over. Yeah, there we go. There is a scum dog. I might make the horns a little more of a brownish color. Make them a little more distinct from the armor spikes. Add a little bit more brown. I'm gonna go into some of those really dark black lines I made, and I'm going to make them a little more brown. And let's go in and add some to his horns. I think I said head spikes. Horns, head spikes, same thing. There we go. Do I have any? I don't think I had any white. Actually, I'm just going to use more of that raw sienna. Just the tiniest bit, though. There we go. I made the horns gray on my sketch, but some pictures they look a little more brown. I'm gonna go brown. And let me add some brown also in his eye area. Let's see. A little bit of gray, because I'm gonna... Maybe I want to do that in yellow. Well, I'll start with gray. I will start with gray to identify like where the whites of his eyes are. I'm looking back at my little plan. I need a little more. A little more gray. There's more in here. I know there is. Ugh! I think this tube is coming to the end of its usefulness. So look for Oderus's eyes. It's like they're set very deep in the sockets. Got a little bit of a look there, and maybe I also want to come in and define where his teeth are. Let me see what I was doing in my plan. And with both the whites of the eyes and the teeth, I'm probably going to go back in with like a pale yellow. I think that'd be a good Oderus teeth color. Actually, here too, I'm deliberating on the teeth now. If I want to have them all be lowered, if I just want the teeth visible to be lower teeth, or want some upper teeth. I like it when it's just as visible teeth. I think it's a whimsical look for him. If Oderus could ever be described as whimsical. Actually, you know what I should also do? I have to squeeze some more of that gray out. Because I feel like if I do black, I'm just going to kind of lose the definition. I'll just have to do this in gray and remember to make it. Just figure out what to do from there. Is that what I want to do? So what I'm trying to figure out, his lips are black, and I'm thinking, do I want to just outline black, or is that just going to get lost with his mouth? Actually, you know what? You know what I'm going to do? His mouth is kind of solid black right now. I am going to add some more of... Actually, I still have some on my palette. I am going to add some more of that red. Just a little bit of that into his mouth. So it's not quite as solid black. Did something kind of weird there. Let's see if I can cover that up. There we go. That is just a delightful smile on our boy. He's so happy. Okay, now... Checking on time. Oh, I need to wrap this up pretty soon. I gotta wrap this part up anyway. Let's see. I don't know if I actually like that I did that. Maybe I prefer it without that lip outline. Yeah, I think I don't like what I just did. Well, that is... Welcome to acrylic painting, where if you made a mistake, be prepared for 10 minutes of absolute agony trying to fix it. I don't think it's going to take that long, though. I think that all I have to do, I might even be able to just... Can I just smear it out? I think we can even just smear it out. There we go. And then I'm going to repaint his lip. Yeah, I prefer it like that. I don't really like what I did there, and thankfully that was very easy to fix, because sometimes you have those painting days where something goes wrong and that's just your whole session is trying to fix that one mistake. Actually, I've had some oil paintings do that also, but with oil paintings it's a lot easier to fix something. You can just wipe it out and it doesn't look terrible. With acrylic, sometimes you wipe something out and your shame is just marked for all eternity. The painting remembers. I like where this is going. This is a good Oderus. It's going to be a quality Oderus. I'm going to add a little bit of that. Maybe a little bit more raw sienna, and I definitely want to go more pink. But we are almost out of time for this section. So how about I save all of that for part 3. And we are back on part this many. Alright, so let me see. I took a much longer break between part 2 and 3 than I did between 1 and 2. So let's try to see if I can get this finished in this part. Alright, so my plan, I'm thinking I want to do a little bit more in that background. I want to lighten this up a bit. So I have, what is that, brilliant purple and a palette knife. So I am gonna see how this is gonna look. It's not quite standing out from that dark purple very much yet, but and I might put something like a good yellow in there. That's a good complementary color for purple. Some nice yellow. Squeeze out a little bit more. Just glob it on, get nice and textury. I don't want it necessarily like to look too evenly applied either. I want it to be very almost haphazard. Wait a minute, that. So I did a little scraping action with that palette knife there, and you know what that did? That's something that'll look pretty cool with my metal. I might have just done something there. Let's see. So, oh, here we go. That is very hard to see on camera, but oh yeah, you can't really see that at all, but I can actually scratch that paint away with my palette knife, and that makes this, that is so cool. Okay, you're definitely gonna have to wait until I have this finished and posted to see what amazing things are happening, but that is creating a really cool texture. My video's kind of getting choppy there. Hopefully you guys aren't having any trouble on your end. But yeah, that's like sword slashes into armor. Yeah, this is gonna be a good painting session. I can feel it. Alright, let's add just like a tiny bit more. I don't want to like overdo it. But man, that is cool. Okay, I think I want a little bit more up there. And I'm trying not to just stick my thumb straight into the paint that I've just applied. Oh yeah, that is cool. Alright, so mostly what I'm trying to do is bring some more, like, make my colors a little bit more vibrant and not quite as brown and muddy right now. I think though I should add some, I can go ahead and add my yellow into the background. Maybe we'll have some of this primary yellow. If I haven't already mentioned, I really like to use mostly Liquitex, usually the like Liquitex Basics. I think this is like a slightly nicer variety of Liquitex. I'm not totally in love with the Artist Loft one. This is the one that I've mentioned in previous parts where, I don't know if you can hear, but that is straight liquid, and that is turning dangerous to try to open. So, not sure I like that particular brand so much. There was another brand of paint that I just found it in the garage and was using it. I don't know if I even have any tubes of it anymore. That paint actually molded. It was a slightly... Actually, I think these containers are see-through, so you can see the color of the paint as it is. But this other brand I was using, you could see the paint was taking on like this, it was looking blacker and blacker. And at some point I like squeezed the paint out trying to figure out what was going on. And it was like the whole inside of the bottle was molding. And that's pretty disgusting. So I wasn't too into that particular brand. Don't want my paint moldy. I mean, it might be applicable for like some Guar fan art to use moldy paint. I did some Max Sabbath fan art using like actual bacon grease, and that painting I did, it was a combination of like ketchup and bacon grease and a little bit of actual paint. That painting actually did start like growing mold, and so that had to be disposed of. But I mean, you gotta experiment with something weird like that. And it was Max Sabbath, so if you're not familiar with them, they're a McDonald's themed Black Sabbath cover band. And it's actually terrifying how good they are. Alright. Is that looking a little more cool? I think it'll look better once I got Oderus more finished. I think I need to get a little more... Need to get a little more of that yellow on the sides. Do I have any brushes out? I do not have any brushes out. What am I doing? This one. Okay. Back to our friends, what is that? Is that the 5 rounds? I was doing a little bit with that last night on another one of my paintings. I need just like the tiniest bit more yellow. I'm going to put some on the top edge of my board. A nice bright sunny yellow for our cheerful Oderus. I still haven't quite finished that edge there. See, I have a big spot that's undone there. I actually have a little blank corner there too, so I need to rectify that issue. Okay. I like that. That is cool. So now, the next thing that I think I want to fix... Really, Oderus' beard isn't really well defined. I'm gonna try some of this burnt sienna. I always have an interesting experience with the siennas. I think that's the category of color that tends to do this. They clump up for me. If you're noticing, it's not very smooth. It's just like this chunky, poopy texture almost. It gets very poopy, and it's not even just that container, because my smaller tubes of it do that too, and it just little poopy clumps, which it's great if you want some texture. If you need just some poopy brown texture, this is the color for you. But if you want something smooth, not so much this. Actually, I might leave it a little clumpy. That'll be fun. Another thing I need to remember about Oderus is, in addition to his full, almost dreadlocky beard, he's got these little whiskery things. These little red and green whiskers coming off his face. And so far, I have not added those in, so that needs to be done. Actually, I might add a little bit of this color to his face. That'll add a little bit more of a reddish tint. There we go. I do want to start going very pink right now with his face, because he's still very, very dark. I might even be able to add, I might leave his horns more close to the burnt umber kind of shade. Okay. I feel like portrait pink is the color I want to use, but I'm also a little afraid to open this after what happened last time. I am going to get the number 2, get that in the paint bucket. Okay, I'm going to shake this up really good, and hopefully if I tilt this, will I be able to see? I don't know, it still looks pretty liquidy. I'm just going to take a little bit what's in the cap here. And actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to use that straight. I'm going to mix that with our burnt sienna. Okay, I like that. You can definitely tell that what color is that portrait pink? You can tell the portrait pink is definitely very on the watery side, though, based off of how this is going on. Sometimes that doesn't look too good when it dries. So we'll just have to see if that works out. I'm really liking how this is turning out though right now. A little more form to those lips. There we go. I might have a pink that's like not completely liquidized. Let's see. Let's see what I've got in my box of tricks. Actually, there's a pink right here. What is that? That is light portrait pink. Okay. Move my cookie box. Squeezed out a little too much. That's more than I wanted. Can I like squish that back in? It's like, no, I didn't need that much. Ah! Okay, well I'm gonna blob that much on my palette. There we go. Let's see, I'm gonna mix a little bit with that burnt sienna that I still had. Yeah, that texture feels a lot better than what the really watery paint was doing. Maybe I just need to let that paint go. I don't know. It might have lost its paintiness or something. I would think the paint just wouldn't go bad, really. Oil paints, I think, can get dried up. Watercolors, definitely not, though. Watercolors, those will last forever. I'm going to bring the camera over so you can see. There we go. Oh, it looks so much better in person. It's turning out super well. It's so hard to see on camera. But this is looking good. I need to finish his eyes too. He's kind of just very vacant at the moment. Let's get more water on our brush. Alright, so that's mostly portrait pink that I'm coming in with. little more definition on his nose area. I think that's getting a bit lost here. There we go. I do feel like that almost needs more of that brown, because I feel like I went from my darkest color to my lightest color a little too abruptly. And that can sometimes work out really well, but here I don't think it's working. Let's even add a little bit of that brown around the eyes, maybe. Maybe I don't actually like that. Maybe I want to fix that. Yeah, I think I want to fix that. But I'm going to go in with, maybe it's the burnt umber that I want to use. Maybe I even want to just go solid black with that. There we go. That's looking better. All right. That is a beautiful Oderus face. Let us work on his eyes. I gotta look at my reference picture here. What the hell? I really can't figure out his eye color based off of this picture. I'm never totally sure. I feel like they're mostly kind of gray. I like to give him yellow eyes, but actually yellow eyes would be kind of cool with the fact that I got the yellow in the background. I think I might do that. I'll just take some creative liberties here. It's my Oderus painting. I can do whatever I want. Let me look at my reference, my drawing reference anyway. See what I was going to do with his eyes. I might just go in a different direction than... Ah, there we go. I like that. There we go. So again, I'm going to bring the camera over, and I'm going to lighten up the whites of his eyes, definitely. I just like to usually go in with gray first before I go in with white, and I usually don't make them solid white. Usually I have eyes tinted with a little gray, or maybe even yellow, depending. I'll do the same thing with teeth. Usually I do more of a grayscale thing with teeth, or make them a little more yellow, depending on the character. I might actually come in with a little bit of gray and just blend into this white. I probably should have grabbed my gray first. Oh, that is a face. That is a face. Where's my gray? There's my gray. Okay. A little bit of gray is going to make it a little less, like, blinding white. It's not going to be, like, I don't know, it's just going to look better than if I used white straight from the tube. I think I just put the wrong caps on the wrong tubes. There we go. Knew something was wrong. I might have actually wanted to do something slightly different with his eyes, where I didn't go like, I went straight into that really vibrant yellow, but maybe I wanted to make them, I think that's not even quite what I wanted to do, but I think I like that yellow better. And again, it's so hard to see what is going on here. I still need to do quite a bit of work on those horns, and also those little spikes here. Those aren't quite finished yet. The edges are still very fuzzy. This might not end up being the last part, what with all the little nitpicky details that end up being left over. I'm just gonna leave his eyes alone for a tiny bit. Okay, so what I think I'm gonna do is right now I'm working on that headband, and I'm gonna kind of work my way up. Once I've got this figured out a little bit more, then I'm gonna work on his horns. So right now they look a little, they just look pretty unfinished. Okay, I want to go in with some white and those spikes. You'll notice at this point I'm just like dipping straight out of the tube, and that's what I do when I only have like the tiniest little bit of paint to grab. I don't even bother with the palette at that point. I don't know, the spikes are still not quite where I want them to be. I'm not totally sure if... Well, let's see. I'm going to try to add a little more white on the base of the spikes where they're connecting with the headband thing. And maybe that'll help. I think that kind of is helping. They're still kind of fuzzy, for lack of a better word. They're just not quite as defined as I'd like them to be. Let's see if I can make that other side opposite of where I put the highlights. What did I just put my finger in? Okay, I just got my finger in the wet background. There we go. Oh, I think I did something, I memt to do something different on these ones because I put the highlight in a different position. Why is that getting so scary? Okay, let's see. Let's see. I think I need to get my white back out. Okay, I might be liking that a little bit more. That spike's a weird shape, though. Let's try to fix that. There we go. There we go. I still need to come in with some skin tones in that little spot right there. I think I'm going to add a little bit more. Is there cat hair stuck in my brush? Of course there's cat hair stuck in my brush. There's cat hair stuck in every painting I've ever done. Surprising that my cat hasn't been in any of these video parts. He is usually right here supervising when I'm painting. I need to work more on his chin. Just haven't been paying attention to that part of his face. And also, I didn't remember all whiskery things that I was just talking about. Oh, also, get that little corner. Probably even if I get this mostly finished on camera, I'll probably save painting the sides for off screen, because that's not super interesting. And if I have any more like annoying little nitpicky things, that'll probably happen off camera. Okay. Now let's do his weird little whiskery things. I think I'm going to use our Alizarine Crimson Hue, whatever this shade of red is called. I'll have to probably go back over with a much more vibrant red because it's kind of getting lost. He has like some weird bright red spots on his face too. Let's go in with some of this. Okay, let's find looks good. Cadmium red, medium hue. Let's do some cad red. Let's do that. There we go. That looks better. Now from green, I think I'm going to start with Hooker's Green. That's a great color name. Let's use some of that. And then, what is this? Brilliant yellow-green. I'm going to do something very similar that I did with the red, where I kind of started with a deeper tone going into brighter. Kind of liked it before I put the little whiskery doodads on him. I don't know, maybe I should kind of mix them into his beard more. And then, I don't know, I'm not as into how they're on his forehead, but you know what? They are kind of just stuck there. So, what I think I should do... Let me show you what's going on with my my paint. It's kind of just turning into a pile at this point. I'm just sorting through everything now. Let's see, can I make it look a little more like this is like a weird red thing coming out of his skin compared to just a red squiggle slapped on his face? Because that's my qualm with how this is looking. I am not really sure. Also, I feel like I should do a little more to define his upper lip here. I think I'm going to take some more of our burnt sienna. Actually, I'm going to slap that on my palette because alright, there we go. I'm going to blend that with a little bit of the light portrait pink, whatever the portrait pink is, that isn't just straight liquid. Let's add a little bit more to that nose. Let's see, how are we on time? I'm on 41 minutes. Oh my god, and I'm definitely not done yet. Probably mentioned before, but the reason I gotta check to see what time I'm on is because I can only fit videos, I can only fit so long of a video onto my phone before I start to run out of space. And once I hit a certain video length, my phone's just like, okay, that's enough video for you. So don't want to make that happen again, because that happened with a vlog episode. Shoot, I don't quite like what I just did. But I think I'm going to keep working for a few more minutes, and at that point I'm actually going to call it good, and I can finish him off camera, because you guys will have seen the vast majority of the process. gonna go back in with some black because I feel like I kind of messed up on his ears. Okay, I think we've been going for a while, so let me show you what the final result of those painting sessions. I forgot his pupils. Oh, hell. Well, I'll finish that off camera, because, yeah, we've been painting for quite a while. See, oh, there we go. That's a good shot of Oderus. So yeah, he is just about done, except for some just little nitpicky details. I'm going to finish that off camera, lest I make the video any longer. So thank you very much for tuning in and watching me paint, joining in this chaos that is my painting session. Hope you all have a lovely day.